heart pounding, seconds ticking. Have you ever felt that edge of your seat wait, not just for a game winning shot or a movie trailer, but for a situation even more intense? Today, we are bringing that thrilling countdown experience to your website with the advanced Elementor countdown timer widget by XPRO. Hey guys, this is Richa from Experimento Addons. This countdown timer shows how much time is left until an event starts. It countdowns backward, making things feel urgent and encouraging users to act. Use this widget to create excitement for things like limited time deals, signing up for events, launching websites, seasonal sales, and more. It makes everything look really cool and grabs people's attention. To use this widget, you need to buy and activate the Pro version of Elementor. You can find detailed video on our YouTube channel. Now let's get started. Take a look at this website where I have created a stunning countdown showing the mega sale. Let's dive into how it was made and how you can do the same. Alright, let's get started. Go ahead and search for the Advanced Countdown Timer widget by XPRO in the search panel. Then simply drag and drop it onto the template where you want it to appear. This is the default view of the Experimento countdown, but don't worry, you can customize it to your taste. In the Content tab, there is General and Expiration. Let's first play with the General section. In General's drop-down menu, the first thing you can see is the time. To set the time, simply click on this option and select the desired day in the calendar. Then enter the specific time either manually or using the arrows. And don't forget to switch between AM and PM. Those can be quite tricky, right? Up next are the labels. They are set to days, hours, minutes, and seconds. You can change the default labels to anything you like. For example, you can add spring before days if you want, like this. And if you prefer not to display labels at all, simply delete them. It's that easy. I'm sticking with the default labels for the user's clarity. Now let's adjust the alignment. You can choose to align the countdown to the left or center or right. Personally, I prefer the left alignment for a clean look. Moving on to the columns, you can decide how many countdown boxes are displayed per column. You have the option to select up to 4 columns. This feature is particularly useful if you're limited on width or height space. For example, if you have less width space, you might opt for 1 or 2 boxes per column. Similarly, if you have less height space, you could display all boxes in a single column, just like I did. This widget offers 5 different separatist styles, each with a unique look. Feel free to explore them and pick the one that best complements your website design. If you prefer a clean and minimal look, you can simply select None to remove the separator altogether. The choice is yours. In this case, I'll keep it clean and skip the separator. That wraps up the general section. Now let's move on to the expiration. You might be curious about what happens when the time hits 0. Well, we have got an excited option for that in the Expire Action type menu. you can select to display a message automatically. For instance, you could have a message like sale ended. You can then customize the formatting of this message from this mini version of Word. You can select from these heading styles. Okay, first let's change the count and timer to show its end time. So you can see the expiration action. Now you can see the message which we have just written. Now let's try some formatting. Select from these heading styles. You can make the text bold or italicize it. These are different decoration options. You can play around with it. You can also display a bullet or number. Or link it by just pasting the link of that website or a particular page, and the message is linked with that particular page. There's a variety of options to play around. You can change the text color from here. You can add an image if you like from this add media option. Let's insert this one. It appears over here. You can also add a character from the special character chart. Another option is the redirection link. Simply paste the link of the website page here, and once your time is up, users will be redirected to that page automatically. By selecting a template, you can import a pre-built design simply by typing its name and choosing it like this. The template content isn't related to the countdown, it's just to give you an idea. For more information about the template widget, visit our YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out. If you don't want to use any of this option, then you can simply select none from the action type, and this way nothing will happen after the time reaches 0, and it will only display the countdown widget. I'm going for the message that lets user know the timer has expired. We've covered the options for what happens when the countdown expires. Now let's bring the countdown timer back into the picture. All set. Let's move to the styling tab and do some fun styling. Starting with the general section, you have the option to change the label position between blocks and inline. In inline mode, the time and text are displayed in a single line, like this, while in block mode, they appear in separate lines. I'm sticking with the block as it goes well with my layout. Next, you can set the spaces between the timer using the space between option. Drag the slide bar like this or enter a specific value in the digit box. Decrease the value using these tiny arrows. This makes it easier to organize the timers nicely on your website. Let's try 20. 25, no, 30, perfect. Now let's focus on typography for the time. You can select the font from this font family like Arial, Tahoma, Helvetica. I'm selecting Jost, stylish and easy to read. Resize the time by dragging the size slide bar or entering the size directly. Let's try 40 pixels. It's a bit small. How about 50? Yep, that looks good. Now let's adjust the font weight. There are different weights like 100, 400 or 900. I prefer 500. It creates a nice balance. Now on to the transform option. Here we have uppercase and lowercase and many other options to play around. But since there is time, there is numbers, it won't work here. But don't worry, you will see its magic in the labels. For style, you have the options of normal, italic, and oblique. I'll stick with the default. As for decoration, you can select from underline, overline, and line through, or none. Moving on to the line height, adjust the height of the line from here. Now let's try letter spacing, where you can adjust the space between letters like this. You can also adjust the word spacing from here. It won't work since there is only one number. It works for more than one word. The typography is all done. Next is the color for the time. You can select any color from these color options. Play around till you get the one that goes well with your layout. Selecting black. Then there are the margins for the time, which can be adjusted by entering the value. If you want to adjust it differently, then unlink it from here and add differently like this. Moving on to the typography for the labels, you have the freedom to experiment with different fonts, weights, and size. For my choice, I'm selecting Jaws, maintaining the size to a bit smaller than the time, so 16. And leaving everything else as it is. Oh, let me show you how transform works. In uppercase, you can see that all the letters are capital. Lowercase is the opposite of uppercase. In capitalize, only the first letter is capital. Now selecting the color for the labels. You can go for a different color. I'm selecting black, same as time. Next, adjust the margins for the labels. Increase and decrease, whatever you want to do. You can also adjust the width and height of the boxes using these slide bars. Let's try width. $100, no. 150. Increasing it to 155. Nice. And now let's adjust the height accordingly. 100, no. 120, 130, 140 looks cool. I want to ensure it looks well balanced with the template design, neither too congested nor too spread out. If you like to have a colored background display, then select from the background type. You can either have a classic or a gradient. Let's try the classic color, selecting the color from this color option. Nice. Now let's try out a gradient. Selecting color 1 and now the color 2. Adjust the location of the colors using this location slide bar. You can also select the gradient type, linear or radial. With linear, you can set the angle like this, and with radial, you can adjust its positions. If you are not a fan of background color, you can simply remove it. This tool allows us to style however we want. That is pretty cool. Oh, and don't forget about adding an image background. You can upload an image or even GIF from your computer or choose one from this media library. You can even insert a URL if you've got something specific in mind. I'm opting for the media library. Next, set the image resolution. There are plenty of options. Now on to positioning, you've got plenty of options to play around with here as well. Then there's attachment. Here we have scroll if you like the image to scroll along with the page. Then fix if you want the image to be fixed in one place. Take your pick. Next is the repeat option. If you want the image not to repeat, select repeat. And if you want it to repeat, then go for the repeat option. If you like it to repeat horizontally, go for repeat X. And for vertically, go for repeat Y. And finally, the display size. How do you want your image to be displayed? There are tons of options to select from. Select what you like. Now let's try for the GIF. Wow, it looks exciting. I'm gonna stick with the classic color. I think the labels and time color should be changed to white. This color matches with the layout theme. The next cool thing is the box shadow. It's like adding a touch of magic to your elements, making them look super stylish. Select your shadow color here and then play around with the horizontal and vertical directions to get it just right. Want to control the blur? It's easy. Adjust the blur value. And don't forget about the spread. You can adjust that too. And for a cool effect, we have the position option. Here we have outline and inset. In inset, the shadow is inside the edges. And in outline, the shadows at the outer edges. I'm keeping it at default. Now let's dive into the border type. You don't have to worry about finding the right border design or empty your pockets on fancy designers. This tool has your back. Well, let me increase the border width so you can see the border around the boxes. Now you can see the border. Easily select from a range of border styles in the drop-down menu. Now you know what the border width option is for. It is to increase or decrease the border thickness. You can also adjust it differently by linking the values from here. And guess what? You can play with the border colors to match your vibe. There is more, that is border radius. It gives your border a softer, more stylish look. Feeling rounded edges, type in values like 20 or 30. Want them only a bit softer, then go for 5 or 10. You are in control. Unlink it and customize the sizes differently. This tool gives you all the freedom and it's a breeze, isn't it? I'm selecting default in the border type. Now on to the padding, that is the distance between the empty spaces. Adjust it from here. The general section is now all set. Next is the days section. In the drop-down menu, you will see colors for the time, label, background type, including the classic and gradient options, border type. You might be wondering why we are selecting colors again when we have already applied them. Don't worry, I'll explain it. If you want the labels, text, and background to have the same color, simply select from the general section. But if you're feeling a creative and want to try different styles, you can color the labels, time, and background differently by selecting them from their respective sections like this. See, it is now different from the rest of the boxes. Select a different border from here. Then change the border color. This for the days section. Now let's try for the hours. Then the minutes. And lastly, the seconds. So this is how you can style them separately. However, I like the same color styling, so bringing it back to life by setting these colors, changing the border to default, and that's it. Let's have a look. Wow, it looks pretty cool. So this is what you can do with this advanced amazing widget by XPRO. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more amazing videos.